In this podcast episode with Paul Stamets, a leading authority in mycology and the healing power of mushrooms, the profound influence of fungi on ecosystems, human health, and consciousness is explored. Stamets emphasizes that everything we do, our perception, breathing, socializing, and emotional states, is deeply connected to the health of our nervous system, which in turn can be supported and even transformed by fungi. His work spans from the microscopic networks of mycelium underfoot to the therapeutic potential of psilocybin mushrooms, revealing a complex and elegant natural system that nurtures life. Stamets describes fungi as the Earth's external digestive membranes, drawing a powerful analogy to the human body and positioning mycelium as a fundamental, interconnected web of life that sustains ecosystems. This understanding blurs boundaries between individual organisms, highlighting fungi as critical players not only in environmental resilience, but also in expanding human consciousness and promoting health on multiple levels. A deeply personal part of Stamets' story involves his childhood struggle with a debilitating stutter, which shaped his relationship with the world and guided him toward the natural world for solace. His engagement with mushrooms began as a source of comfort, particularly through interactions with snapping turtles in his backyard, where he found acceptance and connection despite social anxieties. His breakthrough came during a heroic dose experience with psilocybin mushrooms during a thunderstorm in Ohio, a transformative moment where fear and beauty intertwined. Clinging to a tree as the storm raged, Stamets experienced a profound spiritual epiphany, realizing his intrinsic worth and love for himself, which enabled him to overcome his stutter almost completely. This personal narrative underscores the therapeutic potential of psilocybin as an agent of self-acceptance and healing, not just a psychoactive compound. Stamets explores the astonishing complexity and intelligence of mycelial networks, describing them as vast underground webs with resilience comparable to the human brain or the internet. These networks coordinate cooperative communities of organisms that promote ecosystem vitality, a phenomenon he calls guilds. His passion for studying these connections at the microscopic level reveals a living fabric that sustains forests, gardens, and even oceans, with evidence suggesting mycelium may exist on a cosmic scale. He connects this mycelial intelligence to a broader metaphysical view of the universe as a continuum of interconnected networks, whether neurons, mycelium, or dark matter strings, pointing to an underlying unity in nature. This perspective supports the notion that fungi, far from being simple organisms, are fundamental to the evolution of life and consciousness itself, inspiring new ways of thinking about biology and spirituality. Many people limit their understanding of fungi to the mushrooms visible above ground, but Stamets makes clear that mushrooms are merely the reproductive fruiting bodies of a much larger organism, mycelium. This vegetative structure exists mostly underground or within organic material, forming an extensive and dynamic network of filamentous cells responsible for nutrient exchange and communication. Fungi have various ecological roles. They can be saprophytes, decomposing dead matter, parasites affecting other organisms, or symbiotic partners known as mycorrhizae, which support plant health by improving nutrient uptake. The relationship between fungi and other living forms is intricate, creating a dynamic balance that enables biodiversity and ecosystem stability. Stamets stresses that this complexity is fundamental to understanding environmental health and human connection to nature. Fungi occupy a unique evolutionary position that often surprises people. Rather than being plants, fungi are a separate kingdom more closely related to animals than plants, with an evolutionary divergence dating back hundreds of millions of years. Stamets describes fungi as external digestive systems that release enzymes to break down nutrients externally before absorption, distinct from animals that digest internally. This evolutionary lineage underscores the biochemical and physiological similarities between fungi and humans, which explains why many antibiotics derived from fungi work so effectively against bacteria, but antifungal drugs tend to be more toxic to humans. Understanding fungi's placement in the web of life expands appreciation for their biological importance and hints at their therapeutic potential through shared molecular pathways. Among the thousands of mushroom species, only a small fraction, about 220 to 230, are psilocybin-producing. These mushrooms contain complex mixtures of tryptamine compounds, with psilocybin itself metabolizing into psilocin in the human brain, where it acts on serotonin receptors to influence consciousness. Stamets highlights that these compounds have evolved to serve ecological functions, such as deterring predators while attracting spore dispersers, though their impact on human consciousness is a remarkable accidental benefit. The clinical potential of psilocybin has drawn significant scientific attention, with more than 250 registered clinical trials investigating its efficacy in treating addiction, depression, PTSD, and neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Stamets describes psilocybin as a neurotropic vitamin, capable of stimulating neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and reducing inflammation, offering a novel approach to mental health that differs from conventional pharmacology by promoting healing rather than suppression. While public perception often associates psilocybin use with high-dose psychedelic trips, Stamets underscores a range of dosing practices, including microdosing, medium doses, and heroic doses. Microdosing involves taking subperceptual amounts that enhance mood, creativity, and clarity without intoxication. Medium doses induce heightened sensory perception and are often used recreationally or for personal insight, whereas larger doses, often under therapeutic settings, facilitate profound psychological transformation. Therapeutic sessions are highly structured, involving preparation, supervised dosing, and integration processes that help individuals process emotional and spiritual insights. Clinical evidence shows remarkable success rates in overcoming addiction and trauma through these guided experiences. Stamets strongly stresses the importance of context, cautioning against unsupervised recreational use and emphasizing the need for professional support in navigating the sometimes challenging psychological terrain of high-dose experiences. Stamets situates psilocybin mushrooms within a spiritual framework that transcends reductions to mere chemistry. Drawing parallels with indigenous rituals and global mythologies, he suggests these fungi serve as portals to expanded consciousness, revealing the interconnectedness of life and enhancing empathy, kindness, and cooperation. This awakening to a unified field of consciousness is not only personal, but holds collective significance for societal transformation. He connects these experiences to a need for a quantum leap in human creativity and awareness, a leap essential to confront global challenges such as environmental degradation and social fragmentation. Psilocybin's capacity to dissolve rigid boundaries, the ego, divisions, dogmas, offers a powerful tool for nurturing peace, empathy, and an ecological worldview aligned with the sustaining intelligence of mycelial networks. Beyond human health, Stamets emphasizes the revolutionary applications of fungi in agriculture and environmental restoration. Conventional farming practices reliant on chemical pesticides and herbicides have damaged biodiversity and soil vitality. Fungi, particularly mycelial communities, offer sustainable alternatives that can restore soil health by enhancing nutrient cycling, improving plant immunity, and reducing the need for toxic chemicals. Fungi also play a role in regenerative agriculture and no-till farming, practices that rebuild carbon in soils and promote long-term sustainability. Stamets illustrates how fungal-based biotechnologies can strengthen ecosystems, protecting crops naturally, supporting pollinator health, and potentially reversing decades of environmental harm. The promise of fungi as key agents of ecological balance calls for increased investment and integration into mainstream agricultural science. Stamets sheds light on how fungi are inspiring new materials and technologies that extend beyond food and medicine. Mycelium-based materials are being developed as biodegradable packaging, sustainable textiles, and even construction materials, offering eco-friendly alternatives to plastics and conventional building supplies. Notably, fungal materials can also serve as natural batteries or insulation, with remarkable properties for space colonization, indicating fungi's versatility as a resource for future human endeavors. He recounts how traditional uses of fungi, such as Amadou mushrooms crafted into hats and fire-carrying tools, demonstrate the long history of human-fungi collaboration. These examples underscore the untapped potential of fungi for innovating ecological solutions in industries ranging from fashion to aerospace, heralding a bio-inspired approach to technology grounded in nature. Stamets discusses the social and political barriers that hinder wider acceptance and research of psychedelic mushrooms. Bureaucratic inertia, stigma, and misinformation have historically restricted access despite mounting scientific evidence. Yet, he acknowledges growing momentum from veterans groups, law enforcement programs, indigenous communities, and religious organizations embracing psilocybin therapy as a way to heal trauma and promote mental well-being. He portrays a hopeful vision where psychedelic medicine contributes to societal healing by fostering compassion, forgiveness, and kindness, qualities essential to overcoming cultural divisions and conflict. Stamets advocates for a future where humans steward technology, especially artificial intelligence, with the values nurtured by fungi, cooperation, resilience, and random acts of kindness, as a foundation for a sustainable and connected civilization.